One of my favorite times with Bob was during the Wilburys because he was so funny. I wish that people like you and other people who are big fans of his, I wish they could know that or see that side of Bob. But you're never going to have that without special times like that.
Which side do you mean?
Well, just how funny he is,
Mm-hmm.
He used to crack me up. I told him one time, I said, man, you're like a Lenny Bruce throwback.
Bob and me and Dennis Hopper were going to Yalapa on vacation, along with Louis Kemp, who at the time was Bob's close friend. Getting on the plane was pretty humorous because the young girl seated next to Bob could not believe she was sitting next to Bob Dylan. She said, I can't believe it. I never dreamed that I would be sitting next to Bob Dylan. And Bob says, pinch yourself.
And he has some funny stories. There's some live tapes where there's some funny, where he's, talking to the audience and he's saying things like, I went and played at this place and, I tried to tell them about Jesus and they're making this sound. They're going, boo, like he'd never heard that or anything before. He was like going, it's just weird. I was telling them about Jesus and they're going, boo. It was like, boo. I don't know what that meant, man, but it's very weird. So that was hysterical.
When I was working with the GE band and Bob, that was when Bob was into his, for the whole tour, through Europe with GE and through the whole tour, he wore Levi's cowboy boots, gray sweatshirt, sunglasses, and a baseball hat. He came into every building that way. And lots of times he played on stage that way. So we're doing a sound check. We're getting ready for a sound check. And he usually came late, after the band was up there and playing and stuff. It was Halloween. And GE comes to me and he says, hey, I want to do something. I said, what do you want to do? And he goes, I want to get the whole band and crew gray sweatshirts. I'm going to have them wear baseball hats and shades when he walks in the building. So I sent him out. The whole crew had shades on, the band, the crew, everybody in the, everybody that was associated with us. The guy at the soundboard, the monitor guy, gray sweatshirt, baseball hat, and shades. And they did the sound check. And Bob came up and he just kind of looked, he didn't say nothing, just kind of picked up the guitar and played and stuff. Played the whole sound check, 20, 30 minutes with the guitar down. I'm leading him and his security guy to the dressing room, and I'm walking in front of him, and I open the door, and he stops and he goes, hey, tell those guys I want my clothes back when this is over, huh?
One of my favorite things was Bob telling me a joke. He said we got off stage one time, sitting there, and he walks up and he goes, hey, what is a train here with? I said, what is a train here with? I don't know, Bob, what? He said, engineers.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the poet laureate of rock and roll, the voice of the promise of the 60s counterculture, the guy who first folk into bed with rock, who donned to make him in the 70s and disappeared into a haze of substance abuse, who emerged to find Jesus, who was written off as a has-been by the end of the 80s, and who suddenly shifted gears, releasing some of the strongest music of his career beginning in the late 90s. Columbia recording artist, Bob Dylan.